Yo, what up, nerd? My name is Simon, and I'm gonna die. On the table in front of me right now, I have not one, not two, not even five, but 6 headphones to try. 4 IEMs and 2 earbuds. Holy crap. I'm gonna get through all of them today. I'm gonna spread this into different videos so I don't, hold your attention for 2 hours or something, because this is probably how long this is gonna take me, so I'm gonna brace myself. But yeah, the video quality is going to be shit on this one, because as I said in my previous video, I still have not gotten my phone back, which is the camera I usually use to record those videos, so bear with me, no fancy b-roll here, but at least I got RGB, because apparently that's the YouTube meta. Anyway, without further ado, today in this video we're trying 3 different IEMs, and one of them is going to be very controversial because it has a story behind it. But let's just introduce the contestants. We have the Dunu Titan S, probably the most popular out of the sets we're going to try today. Doesn't mean the best. TKZK Wave. Yeah, this phone has amazing autofocus, so I'm not even gonna show it to you. Sorry about that. This is gonna be an audio video in more ways than one. And the CCA CRA Plus. Now, those who know, yeah, it's gonna be one of those kinds of videos. Alright, but without further ado, let's just jump straight into the TKZK Wave. All of those sets mentioned in this video were sent to me by Nims, who's a good friend of mine and a fellow reviewer. Check out Nims's thread on HiFiGuides forums, because, Nims is pretty damn awesome, and you should read what he has to say. He has reviewed all of those sets that I'm talking about today, as well as some of mine. I sent him my Blessing 2 recently, my SSR, and my A4000, so if you're interested in what a fellow really good reviewer has to say about them, go check out Nims. Alright, back to the video. And for those of you unaware of how my first impressions videos work, I'm gonna listen to 3 songs on each of those IEMs and give you my impressions in between each song, just what am I thinking about it. This is not a review, right? 3 songs is not enough to review an audio product. Neither is a graph for that matter, because there are some people. But yeah, this is just 3 songs, first impressions, but I found those can be really valuable already. So yeah, first set is the TKZK Wave, and the funny thing about it is, despite the name, despite using QDC connectors, which pretty much only KZ uses on the budget front, and despite using what is basically, I think, the same shell as the KZ DQ6, the Wave is actually not made by KZ. It's made by Tin Hi-Fi, of all people. Those guys who made the T2. And this is, I don't know what the price on this set is, between $30 and $50, so it competes with the T2, and it's also supposed to be a neutral tuned set. So I'm actually very curious about that one, and the build quality is kind of excellent. So yeah, the 3 songs we're going to be listening to today are Never Ever Going Back Again by Fleetwood Mac, Big Freeze by Muse, and With You by Linkin Park. Alright, so first song, Never Ever Going Back Again to KZ after listening to the set. Hopefully. Let's see. Okay, so first song, Never Going Back Again by Fleetwood Mac. And I do have some first impressions on the TKZK Wave. this sort of sounds like a T2 with a BA added inside, which I don't know if it is. It's actually, let me check. Oh yeah, I was right actually. Yes, this is a 1DD and 1BA hybrid, and the BA timbre is like immediately noticeable, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. This is tuned very similarly to the T2, so Tin is definitely doing this kind of tuning on purpose, because it is a neutral-ish, more like mid-range focused tuning, but that is like not focused on the vocals at all. It's not highlighting the vocals, it's focused on the instrumentation more. And this is interesting. This is like one of the things I always liked about T2, but that prevented it from being one of my favorite sets. And the TKZK Wave is doing that too. But it's far from bad. But yes, it's definitely got that like very sparkly, plucky character to it. Do you know what? This might actually not be a T2 competitor as much as a Heart Mirror competitor. I'll be very interested in like comparing those in the review. But what I also noticed is like it is very physical, and not in the bass necessarily, but also in the treble. It's like those string plucks, you feel them, which is not very common in IEMs of this price. I actually checked, and this thing is like $40, but you know, apparently it's permanently on sale for $30. So that's kind of nuts. Alright, anyway, before I praise it too much, second song, Big Freeze by Muse. Let's go. Okay, so one thing that I know this thing is immediately different from the KZs is that the BAs are working. I'm sorry about that. Move on. But yes, the BAs are the BA. I guess BAs because there's one per side. They are definitely working and doing a fuck ton of work, because like there is some legitimate technical chops on this thing. I am very surprised at the price. I expected to hear this from the Titan S, which we're going to be testing next, but the Titan S is going to have some tough work cut out for it, because this thing is pretty good. And it also helps that the shell, because I am pretty sure it's just using the DQ6 shell, is supremely comfortable in my ear. Right, so third song, With You, Linkin Park. Let's go.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Okay, after listening to 3 songs on the TKZK Wave, I am impressed. On With You by Linkin Park, I noticed 2 main things. First of all, there is still some funkiness to the vocals, which is Tin Hi-Fi just keeps doing that. The T2 does the same thing, where the vocals are just kind of lacking in, like, you know, the pop. They don't pop as much as they should, especially like Chester Bennington. On this set, this is even more apparent than on the T2, because like the technicalities are here, and like there's so much like gravelly growl to this to Chester Bennington's voice, and it's like it sounds like you almost expect it to sound perfect just on how detailed it is, but it's just lacking that energy. So this is one thing, and the other is like, yeah, the technicalities are pretty outstanding, like for this price, of course, but I wanted to do a quick review of this before listening to it, just comparing it to the T2. After listening to the first song, I added Heart Mirror, the comparison. And after listening to all three, and what I'm gonna say is going to say a lot to people who know me, I'm also going to compare it to the Moondrop SSR. So yeah, I'm gonna be transparent with you. This is out of those 6 sets on my table right now, this is the one I gave the fewest shits about. Just straight up. I was like, okay, I'll just knock it over first. But it surprised me. I like this. Wait for my full review, of course. You know, this was just 3 songs, but I like this thing. Alright, next up, we're going to try... Let's go with the Titan S. Let's leave the juiciest bit for last. Alright. Okay, yeah, I put my spin fits on the Titan S, and I gotta admit, like, the build quality on the set is really good. It's metal, it feels good in the hand, so let's try it and see how it sounds. Okay, Dunu Titan S, first song, really interesting. This does sound really, if I can get it out of my ear, this does sound really similar to the Wave, actually. But there are some differences. Just based on this one song so far, I can say that it does less wrong than the Wave. Like, the mid-range isn't like wonky the way the Wave is. So I can definitely see why this set is getting a lot of hype, and it is decently technical. Like, for the price, it is good. Though I don't know if the technical performance is as impressive as the Wave, but then again, the Wave was definitely helped by the BA timbre, just making it, you know, like really in your face detailed, which is what BAs tend to do, right? So yeah, really interested so far. I'm gonna pop it in for the next song, which is going to be, of course, Big Freeze by Muse, and I'll be back with you in a bit. Okay, second song. I'm not gonna take them out of my ears because I don't know. It's kind of hard to get a great seal with them with those tips, so they're just gonna stay in. Whatever. But yeah, this song that was interesting because those actually do sound like reasonably neutral. I like the tuning sounds correct. And the bass is for sure better than on the Wave. And one thing I noticed, right, like on the Wave, like I could immediately tell the incoherency, right? Because like I put the Wave in thinking it was a 1DD, right? And then I was like, there's no way that's fucking 1DD. And I had to check, and yeah, it had a BA in it because like it is obvious, right? So the Dunu is actually a 1DD, so it does not have that problem. I don't know, it's just lacking that spark of magic. There's just something missing. I don't know if it's the treble being a bit too safe or if it's the vocals being a bit too thin, but there is something missing so far. Keep in mind, this is still first impressions, right? Wait for my full review. But I'm not as impressed as I was with the Wave. Of course, helps that this is like 2.5 times the price of 2 times the price of the Wave, right? Because like the Wave is 40 and this is 80, right? But it's not bad. It's just I'm not sure yet. Alright, let's go to the third song with you, Linkin Park.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Okay, Dunu Titan S. After listening to 3 songs, I think I still can't say anything for sure. It's I don't know, man. It's like let's get this straight. It's not that I dislike this set. I don't. It sounds really good. It sounds correct. But there is just something missing. It's just kind of boring. And like, you know, it's not the technicalities, right? Because things like detail retrieval and imaging, especially I noticed this on the intro to the song, they're pretty good. But I don't know, there's just like this bit of pop that's missing. Because like, you know, when it comes to Chester Bennington's vocals, right? It's like they are less, there's none of that wonkiness that you get on the Wave, right? They sound correct, but they still lack that pop. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely not a bad set. I can see why so many people love it. I don't know if it's gonna be for me, but then again, I'm gonna test it in the full review. Alright, so let's move on to our last set. I'm just gonna collect the spin fits because I forgot to take them off. Our last set for today is going to be the CCA CRA Plus. And now, why did I tell you that it's a spicy one at the start of this video? Well, because there is a bit of a history in that, you know, there was this set called the KZDQ6. The driver drama aside, let's not go into that today. It was an amazing budget set when it comes to like bass, DL, and imaging and sounds. Like, it was a very good set in the technical department. It's just the tuning was kind of whack. So a lot of people, including my friend who tipped me off to this whole IEM, Rikundo Goku, but also myself and a few other people, went into the modding scene and tried to make the DQ6 sound as good as we knew it has the potential to be, right? And we've succeeded. We've tried a few mods, right? One simple one that just improved the sound amazingly, and it's something that everyone can do, was just putting foam tips on it. It's like the DQ6 with foam tips already sounded like so much better than stock DQ6. It wasn't even funny. So yeah, like we tried to improve and we graphed our different mods and stuff like that, right? And we talked about it a lot in KZ's Discord server, and we've talked to the representatives, right? And I've actually, you know, did like my retune of the DQ6, right? And I created a target, and I provided that target to KZ to, you know, I was like, hey guys, if you could release a DQ6 retune to that target, that would just sound fucking amazing, and you would sell millions of those. And this didn't go anywhere, right? This collaboration did not happen because at the same time, my another good friend, HBB, also started talking with KZ, and of course they chose him, which makes sense because, you know, first of all, he's got a huge YouTube channel, right? So his name is something very valuable to put on an IEM, right? And second of all, he did a bang-up job tuning the collaboration, which ended up being named the KZDQ6. And yeah, it sounded great, right? So, I mean, no but blood for not choosing me over HBB. Like, it's just a choice that makes sense, right? But then KZ also came up with a set called the CRA, right? Which you might have heard of it. It's pretty good. For the price, of course. And then just a couple of months after the CRA, they released this, which is the the CRA Plus, right? And the thing about it is, what immediately, like the day the graphs for this came out, I received like 10 DMs from people asking me if this is a collaboration between me and KZ, because it was tuned very close to the target that I provided to them for the DQ6, right? It's not a collaboration between me and KZ. Let's get this out of the way. I have not collaborated with them. I have not received any benefits from this set, and I haven't even heard it until now on purpose, because I don't know. At this point, KZ already fired the 2 representatives that I was in contact with, so I was like, I'm not even gonna engage with this company. There's some stuff, but now that some time has passed, and I also refused to promote this set or even talk about it, because I was like, okay, yeah, it is tuned how I would have tuned it, but it's not the DQ6 driver, so I'm not gonna endorse it, because that tuning was not done on this driver, it was done on that driver, right? So nah, I'm not gonna promote it based on a pretty graph. So yeah, I finally caved in, and I got it in my hands to try and see if this sounds like I would have made it sound. Still, I'm not implying this is a collaboration. I'm not implying KZ stole the tuning or anything. Don't make this into a drama, right? It's just, let's just treat it as a coincidence, all right? Perfect. Now, let's go into the listening. First song, Never Ever Going Back Again, Fleetwood Mac. Okay, yeah, I should have expected this, but the bass shelf and the mid-range they're really good. They are this is how I would tune a V-shaped set, a warm V-shape rather, because I like a variety of tuning, but this is definitely a tuning that I do really like. And yeah, the treble on this set, this is definitely not a collaboration with me. I would have worked a little bit on it, because it has the pop, but it's just a bit much. But yeah, the tuning, the technicalities are obviously a step behind the Wave and the Dunu Titan S, right? But damn, tuning though. Alright, second song, Big Freeze, Muse, let's go. Okay, yeah, after the second song, KZ tuned the set well. The bass on this, the quality isn't that good. It's not DQ6 quality. It's just not. The resolution on the bass isn't that great. But the tonality of the bass, the only 2 IEMs that I heard that have bass that sounds like this are my DQ6, which I'm the only person in the universe that owns this, and the Sony Z1R. I'm not saying this is anywhere close to Z1R in terms of quality of the bass, but in terms of the tonality of the bass, yeah, it is. It's a very good bass shelf, makes things like bass guitars sound awesome, gives great body to the vocals, and yeah, and the electric guitars on this set also sound great. So yeah, let's try Linkin Park.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Yeah, you could have expected that a person will like a set that's tuned the way that person would have tuned it, hey? I mean, okay, it's not the way I would have tuned this driver, because I'm not even sure if they use the same driver as the CRA, because I don't know, it seems like significantly less technical than the CRA, not even mentioning the DQ6. So that's kind of weird. Maybe just the driver can't handle all the bass. I don't know. But yeah, like tuning is good, and yeah, and Chester's vocals pop the way they should. And the electric guitars just sing, and yeah, it's just incredibly well tuned set. What can I say? Okay, yeah, I did, delay, or I refused to review it for some time, right? Just because of, the similarities in tuning, just for the possible conflict of interest. I refused to, actually review the set. But now that so much time has passed, I'm thinking like, I'm never gonna get my answers anyway, right? Because the people I've worked with from KZs are not at the company anymore. So yeah, it's water under the bridge now, and I would have, been a petty asshole, which I am, but I would have been even more so, depriving people of the knowledge that this set exists, because yeah, it's legitimately well tuned, and like I'm really curious to hear it side by side with the Blonde BL03, because I think the Blonde's going to be more technical, but I think I might prefer the tuning here, which if you watched my Blonde review, that is high praise. Yeah. All right. So anyway, 3 sets down. TKZK Wave, really impressive technicalities for the price. Kind of wonky mid-range, but I like this set. Dunu Titan S, very correct tuning, good technical performance. Might be a bit too boring for my taste, but I'll have to see later. And on the opposite side, the CRA Plus, great tuning for my taste, not boring at all, really engaging, but the technical performance is just not very good. But yeah, like all of those sets surprised me one way or the other. So yeah, I've been sitting here for an hour listening to them, so I need a bit of a break. But yeah, definitely wait for my full review out of all of those sets, because all of them definitely do deserve a review. Alright, so with all that said, fuck off.